So it's totally fine if you don't have all the answers. And I'm just here enjoying life, yeah, to the fullest because this life is a gift. We never asked for any of this, but just find ourselves in it every day, and we have to find a way to cope. And we have been dealt a bad hand without us actively asking for it. So I have to keep on dealing with different people with their different perspective, their different way of seeing things. I have to deal with people first of all, and I think dealing with people is the hardest occupation one can find yourself in. If only I had an option not to deal with people directly, I would take that opportunity. If I had, if I didn't have to deal with people directly, I think that would be a gift. Yeah, I'm not a people person. Yeah, I know you cannot live without people. You're not an island. This and that and the other. I understand all that, but it is quite difficult to deal with people, individuals, because you're dealing with everybody with their madness, with their points of view, with their world view. Some of them influenced by their religions and all that. And you know what religion does to people, and especially to logic. Once you involve religion into somebody's mind, logic tends to evaporate or goes out the window. So I have to deal with that. I have to deal with the craziness, this crazy, mad world, and everything else that is going on in it. Mental health, other people are just mental. And I have to deal with that. I have to deal with me fighting poverty because I don't want to wind up being 50 years and still poor. I don't want to do that. I'm thinking about children, my wives, and the kind of life that I promised myself is also the kind of life that I want my kids to live. I don't want them to live like I did because we all come from a place that we don't want to find ourselves in. We don't want to go back there where we came from. Most of us don't. You know, you want to build a better future for yourself for the most part. And, you know, it's something that I've heard over and over again, especially from our community. Oh, the reason why I'm working so hard is because I want to provide a better future for my kids. Well, that is a noble thing to engage yourself in. Most people find themselves overindulgent in that and then they neglect their needs. You know, you end up giving your children all the attention. All your youthful energy is invested in raising these kids. And often times, more often than not, you find yourself, you neglect yourself. And then all your energy is expended in taking care of this offspring that you brought forth. And then when you reach that retirement age, you don't have the energy to go work and make a ton of money anymore. So most parents think that now that I have invested in my kids, this is like a retirement package. I took care of these kids in their most vulnerable states. And so it goes without saying, it's kind of automatic that they are going to take care of me in my most vulnerable state. Well, I'm here to bust your bubble. That tends to be a mistake most people do. reason why you take care of your kids is because you want them to be independent. You don't want them to depend on you as they grow up. They become more and more independent. They become dependent on themselves so that they are no longer under your care. They can fend for themselves. They can flex their wings and go to conquer the world. As now you're looking for how you're going to retire in your own empire, not depending on them. I think that's a mistake. It's a mistake to depend on your children to take care of you when you grow old. I mean, it sounds good on paper. Theoretically, it sounds beautiful. I mean, you should be able to take care of your parents when and if you can in their most vulnerable state. You should do that. But your whole hope, all of your hope should not be pegged on their benevolence. You should not appeal to their benevolence to be able to do that. It's not a guarantee. It's not. And so most people grow frustrated because their kids are not supporting them for whatever reason. For whatever reason. I mean, I think when you bring a child into the world, you have a duty, an obligation to that child in as long as that child is alive. Because first of all, that child did not ask for any of this. You did not send out an application that you wanted to be born, especially in this time, in that community, in a particular race. You never did any of those things. So when you bring a child into the world, you owe it to that child. Take care of that child as long as they are alive. On the other hand, they don't owe you anything. They don't. They didn't ask for it, and that's kind of how I think people get it twisted on that aspect right there. Right? So that is how I look things. That's my lens. I'm not saying anything. I'm not really saying anything. Okay. I just that's how I think. As for me and myself, I want to be able to bring up my children to be independent. And at the same time, I want to be able to plan for my retirement. So, having said that, the other issue is the issue of inheritance. I think children, when they grow old, of course, and you go out there to conquer the world, you should always conquer the world with the mentality that I'm also creating my own empire. I'm not looking to inherit my father. I'm not going to put the much needed effort to try to get my own because my father has this, my father has that. I think that's the wrong perspective to have, you know. So we all come from different backgrounds. We have people who, the vast majority, I would say, come from humble background, but we have people who come from affluence. That should not be the reason why you should not work so hard to get your own. I think I want to, I may, if you ask me, I would encourage anybody, somebody who is young, to go out there and conquer the world and earn a living. Be proud of what you have earned through sheer determination, through deliberate effort. That is what you can be proud of, not your nationality. I think we can all agree on that. Therefore, I believe we have two types of people: the self-made people who build their empires from scratch, and we have trust fund babies, those who inherit a fortune from their parents. We are not the same, okay? And I have this theory that most of the celebrities that we see today here in this country um, are the ones who are born in the city, more urban centered kind of lifestyle. They were born there and they were brought there. So they know nothing else than just, the city life and all that. So they tend to gravitate towards, city life. They become celebrities, influencers, and all that. But most people who own and run big businesses, big startups, these are people who come from literally nothing, from grass to grace. So that I have that literal theory about that. I stand corrected, but I think if you do a little research, you're going to see that most people who are doing big businesses, those people who are entrepreneurs and things like this, are people who come from mostly upcountry. They uh, migrate from rural to urban areas to search for a better life, and since they don't want to go back to where they come from, they know the poverty there is insufferable. So they tend to become independent and entrepreneurs and things of this nature. Okay, so as for me, um, I don't believe in employment. I don't want to work for anybody. I don't want to work under anybody. I want to be autonomous. I want to be my own boss. Yeah, that's what I want to do, and have fun and travel all over the world. Have my own schedule and things of this nature. Okay, peace.